why not check out our website at wrestlingfatherandson.weebly.com, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to our channel.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Wrestling Fun with Father and Son. I'm Father Matt, and this is Son.
Hi.
And this is a week that was WWE. This is Raw. So yeah, like I said, this is the Raw part of the week of WWE. I think going forward, I'm going to split this into two parts, Raw and SmackDown. So I'll start with a bit of outside news. Obviously at the weekend we had Batista versus Triple H, no holds barred. Batista has just come out now and said that he's fully retired now from the WWE, and that was his last match. So that's just a little bit of news before we go into the main Raw stories. So yeah, without further ado, let's start with Raw. Raw started off with Seth Rollins, the new Universal Champion, coming out and giving a bit of a promo to the crowd, saying that we deserved the win and that, you know, he's overthrown the Beast. And now obviously Brock Lesnar was not on Raw, so we're thinking that maybe he's now left for a little while, hopefully for a long while. I think I'm a little bit sick of seeing Brock Lesnar with the belt. I think now Seth Rollins is going to defend that belt a little bit more regularly, which is what that title needs. But then that being said, the New Day come out. Also, you know, Kofi Kingston won against Daniel Bryan. That's like a new era for the WWE with the title changes. He came out, they did a bit of a promo, saying about obviously celebrating the fact that Kofi won, and that's saying he was no longer a B+ player and that he deserved the title. But then Kofi Kingston decided to open the challenge to Seth Rollins, saying that he wanted a winner-takes-all match for both championships. I think I'll get onto what I think about that at the end of the show, because I think there's a little bit of a side note that might want to be addressed, so I think I'll do that. So yeah, not much to do with that. Next it was Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, who are the Raw Tag Team Champions, versus the Revival in the rematch. Not a lot really happened in the match. Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder won and retained. So yeah, then we had Baron Corbin come out and do a promo about Kurt Angle, about his win at WrestleMania on Kurt Angle. That brought out Kurt Angle, who did a little bit of a promo, but then he obviously Angle slammed and Angle locked Baron Corbin. But after that, Lars Sullivan finally debuted on Raw. It's been a couple of months since, well, they said, the commentary made me laugh because they said we've been hearing about him for months, but they haven't really. They heard about him at the beginning of the year, then they haven't really heard him because of issues surrounding him backstage, with him walking out of Raw because of an anxiety attack. And the original program was supposed to be that he was supposed to get seen at WrestleMania. I think that was what the original program, that's what I read. But obviously that didn't happen because he walked out, and now they've sort of brought him in now, and it's good to see that he's in a good place now to actually make this debut. Yeah, so let's say big heat with the crowd because it was Angle. But we'll see what happens with Lars Sullivan going forward. Then we had Alexa Bliss versus Bayley. Alexa Bliss obviously has been injured. She's returned. Don't really know why she didn't have a match at WrestleMania. She was cleared the next day, but she was the host. It just seems like that was to give her something to do. Then we had Becky Lynch come out and do a promo about how she's Becky Two Belts now. Let's say, not much to the promo, to be honest. There was no Charlotte, no Ronda Rousey on SmackDown or Raw this week. But as she was then leaving, Lacey Evans came out. Obviously we've seen Lacey Evans over the last few months. She keeps coming out, then walking back. This time she went up to Becky, went to turn away, and then she punched her in the face. So it looks like they're now teasing Lacey Evans versus Becky Lynch. It's going to probably be the first defence. Whether or not they're going to now unify that title into one belt and that she's going to have just one belt, I don't know. There is a rumour going around that could be what they're going to be doing, but Lacey Evans is the first competitor. I'm not really sure, to be honest. They haven't really built up Lacey Evans that much, except for just having a walk out, walk back. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, to be honest, and have to see the match to really pass judgment on that. They had a bit of a brawl up the ramp, and that was basically it. Obviously that filters into SmackDown when we get on in the other video when we get on SmackDown. That obviously plays out a little bit more in that. So then next we had like a little video backstage. It was a cardboard box, and out of it come like a little puppet thing, bird thing, in a Hawaiian shirt. I don't really know what. Obviously it's teasing Bray Wyatt. We think it's Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt's obviously going to have a new sort of look and probably a new character. We don't know, but we'll have to wait to see what happens there with that. That promo did show on SmackDown as well. So we'll see what happens. Then we had Dean Ambrose, which they were teasing. It was his last WWE match. It was against Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley came out with Leo Rush and said that he would look after his wife when he was gone. They had a bit of a brawl around the ring, up to the ramp, and Lashley put Ambrose through a table, and then Renee Young, who is Dean Ambrose's real life wife, was basically there tended to him, and that was it. So yeah, if you read some of the things online, there's a lot of speculation about Dean Ambrose. There's a lot of fans saying he is going, a lot of fans saying he's not going. Obviously time will tell. I think he's gone. I don't think we'll see him again. But the way they've sort of said goodbye to Dean Ambrose has been a bit poor. They haven't really used him since he's announced he's going, and this is just another one of them sort of screw you, Dean. To be honest, it's not the way to leave a company. I know after Raw went off the air, they did have a bit of a he came out and did a bit of a goodbye promo with the Shield, but apart from that, that was it. That's Dean Ambrose gone. As far as we know, he's gone now. So he's had a good career. He had a good WWE career anyway. He's had a few title runs. He was the WWE champion at one point, and you know we'll see what he does in the future if he goes somewhere else. But for now, he's left the WWE as far as we know. Next, we had a returning Sami Zayn came out. Big pop from the crowd, cheering the crowd. Did a bit of a promo, a babyface promo. He said he wanted basically wanted an opponent. Out comes Finn Balor. They have an Intercontinental title match. And at the end, Balor wins and retains, which I didn't think he wouldn't lose, to be honest. And then Sami Zayn decided to do a heel promo. I don't really understand why he comes out as a babyface and then he ends as a heel. I don't really know, but that's the way it is. We'll see what happens with the Sami Zayn character going forward. I don't think Sami Zayn's really a good heel. I think he's better as a babyface, but we'll see. We'll see if he gets it better this time round. Next, we had Elias come out. And he obviously talked about we'll get to that in a minute. Elias came out. He was in the ring with his guitar, saying about how John Cena interrupted him at WrestleMania. He did his own little rap, and at the very end of that rap, he said the next person to interrupt him would be
the dead man.
No, a dead man. Yes, a dead man. Which then brought out
the Undertaker.
The Undertaker. Yes, returned on Raw. Got to admit, the Undertaker's looking in really good shape. His hair's receded a little bit, but apart from that, his physical shape looks really good. He obviously did
big boot.
He did a big boot. Yep, I think he done a choke slam, didn't he? And then he done a tombstone pile driver. So I don't understand why the Undertaker wasn't at WrestleMania if he's now on Raw. Maybe it's just because of the crowd. All night the commentators were hyping up the crowd. Now the crowd, this Raw wasn't as good as previous Raws. That's my opinion, and I think there's been a lot of pressure put on the crowd. And I think they do hype up every year that this is the WrestleMania, the day after the WrestleMania crowd, and I don't think it delivered this year, and I don't think it can deliver every year. But like I said, there's too much pressure put on it. It should just be the night after WrestleMania. The crowd, if they're good, they're good. If they're not, they're not. It's just there shouldn't be no pressure. But anyway, yep, the Undertaker returns. So what that means for the Undertaker going forward, we don't know. Will he have a match with Elias down the line? Obviously they've got the Saudi Arabia show coming up, and they like to have their big stars on there, including the Undertaker, so he might be on there against Elias. We'll have to wait to see. Then after that, we get to there's Kofi Kingston versus Seth Rollins in a winner-take-all match. But they got halfway through the match, and then who interfered?
The Bar?
The Bar interfered, yes. Now, Seth Rollins cut a bit of a promo on the Bar. He did say to Kofi, though, which I think is what I was saying about the winner-takes-all stipulation, about the unifying them belts. He did say, we'll get back to this another time. Now, that might mean that they're going to have another match down the line. They might have a winner-takes-all match, maybe Money in the Bank. I'm thinking they could possibly have a winner-takes-all, Money in the Bank match, possibly a ladder match as well. I'm thinking ladder match, where they have both belts high up, and then they're going to unify. Or they possibly might have both belts, and they might say they're going to unify them and have the new belt up there. We'll have to see. I think that's where they're going to go. I'm not too bad on my predictions. We did predict that Kofi Kingston was going to win, and we were right about that. And it is about, I think, 5 weeks away. It's in May. It's about May the 19th or something. I'd have to have a look at the date. I'm not very good at dates. But it's about round about that time. So we'll have to see. I think that's the way they're going to go. They're going to go Seth versus Kofi Kingston. Winner takes all. Money in the ladder match for both titles. But yeah, say Seth Rollins and Kofi Kingston versus The Bar. No New Day at ringside. It ended up that Kofi Kingston and Seth Rollins beat The Bar, and that was the end of Raw. So, like I said before, they put a lot of pressure on the Raw crowd. The Raw crowd weren't there. As soon as they announced that Kofi Kingston versus Seth Rollins match was over, and The Bar were going to have their match against Kofi Kingston and Seth Rollins, the crowd lost it. They didn't really care. They were booing, they were chanting, they didn't really care. There was an AEW chant. They didn't really care. So I don't see why they just didn't have that match go to a no DQ finish and then that go off. And then they seem to be bringing, because Superstar Shake-Up's next week. That'd be interesting to see where all the superstars go. They're going to mix the shows up again. Obviously add a bit more colour and flavour to it. A bit more interest to it, hopefully. I can't see why they just didn't DQ that match and then next on SmackDown they could have had Seth on there and then they could have had a match. But like I say, they do put a lot of pressure on that crowd and it showed, and hopefully they'll realise in the future that if you put too much pressure on it, it just won't be as good. So yeah, that's Raw. That's the week that was WWE Raw section. Obviously there'll be another video that comes probably directly after this one. That is the SmackDown. So you have to watch out for that one. So I think we'll leave it there. So if you like this video, please like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. So I'll say goodbye. Say goodbye, Kai.
Bye.
Goodbye.